Hi everyone. Today we're doing 12.2, which is determining payroll tax withholdings. Anyone who has a job knows that what you actually earn over a pay period is not necessarily what you take home because of taxes. And so in 12.1, we figured out the earnings for each one of our employees. However, as someone who's responsible for the payroll of the company, you also have to take out the taxes and withhold those taxes from each employee before you write their actual payroll check. So that's what this whole lesson is about. One crucial thing that we need to rely on throughout this lesson, but also the rest of the chapter, are our withholding charts. So I have the withholding charts available to you. If you go to chapter 12, scroll down to the bottom, you'll see single withholding chart and married withholding chart. I highly recommend you print these out if you have the ability to. If not, make sure you have them open and saved throughout the chapter because you will need to refer to them. And the reason why is because that is going to tell us how much federal income tax we need to withhold from each one of our employees' paychecks. So the federal income tax is a standard tax that everyone in the United States gets charged, and that money ultimately goes to the federal government. Now, you can determine how much money gets taken out of your paycheck for federal income taxes when you fill out your W-4 when you get hired. So you choose the number of withholding allowances and your marital status. So you will say there if you're married or single and how many people you are responsible for. You can choose to go up or down, even if it's not necessarily accurate. If you want to withhold more or less, you can alter your withholding allowances, and what will happen is if you get more taken out of your paycheck initially, you will have a higher tax refund when you pay your taxes on April 15th of the following year. Some people prefer that. Some people prefer to break even. It's kind of a personal preference, and I encourage you to talk to your parents and see what their personal preference is. So we have our employees here, and it says on our chart what their marital status is that they put on their W-4, and also the number of withholding allowances. In addition to that, we need that information plus their total earnings. These are the total earnings that we determined from the previous lesson. So what we're going to do is figure out our federal income tax withholding. So we're going to start with our first employee, John. He is married, and so we are going to click on the married withholding allowance chart. Now, what we need to do here is find the intersection of how many withholding allowances he has and how much he made. So if we look at the problem, it says he has 2 withholding allowances and he made $1,360. So we'll just find the intersection. So we have 2, and then we're going down to $1,360. Now you'll see that $1,360 shows here and here. So, but if it shows up in 2 columns, this is at least or but less than. If it shows up in 2 columns, we're going to use the column to the left. So 1360, find the intersection for 2. That's $52 that needs to be withheld from his federal income tax withholdings, okay? So I'm going to go down the line and do all of my employees' federal income tax withholdings. Our next employee is Janice. Janice is singled with 1 withholding allowance. We're going to use our single chart, but we also have to double check how much she made. She made $980. So single, 1, and $980. So we have single, 1, and find $980. Here it's 2 places, here and here. If it's 2 places, we use the column to the left. So that's $79 that's going to be withheld from her federal income taxes. Terry is married with 3 withholding allowances and she made $1,510. So married, $1,510 would fall in between $1,500 and $1,520. And I believe that was 3. So $1,510, $1,520 with 3, that is going to be 50. So let's look here and plug in 50 here. And then Anthony, single with 2 withholding allowances, $1,125. So single, $1,125 would fall here, and I believe it was 1. We'll double check that. And if it was, oh no, it was 2. So 2 would be 77. So we will do 77 here. So that's how much money is going to be withheld from each employee's paychecks for federal income tax. But a couple of additional taxes need to be withheld from each employee's paycheck. The first is Social Security tax. Everyone pays Social Security. If you don't know what Social Security is, it's you'll ultimately, when you reach your 60s, I believe you can collect when you're 62 and 4 months, or you can wait and get a higher amount when you're 66. It's like almost like a little retirement plan provided to you by the federal government. So Social Security tax, and it tells you this right here in the directions. It says use a Social Security tax of 6.2%. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our total earnings, so 1,360, and we're going to multiply it by 0.062. That's 6.2%, okay? You might want to write that down on your packet or on your withholding charts that Social Security tax rate is 6.2. It's going to remain that for all of our problems, okay? So the answer here is 8432 is going to be withheld from John's paycheck for Social Security. Next, we have Janice. So Janice made $980 times 0.062, $60.76. Next, we have Terry. So Terry made $1,510 times 0.062 or 6.2%, $93.62. And then lastly, we have Anthony. And Anthony made $1,125. We're going to multiply that by 0.062 or 6.2%, $69.75. Will be withheld from his paycheck for Social Security tax. Next, we have our Medicare withholding. So it says here in the directions again, Medicare tax is 1.45%. Again, you might want to write that on your packet or also write the conversion to a decimal. So that would be for John Clausen, he made $1,360. We're going to multiply that by 0.0145, okay? That is 1.45%. And that's going to give us 1972. Next, we have Janice, who made $980 in earnings. We're going to multiply that by times 0.0145, $1,421. And then we have Terry, $1,510 times 0.0145. All right, so in this situation, it gives us 3 numbers as a decimal. And what we need to do is we need to round to the nearest hundredth, or to the nearest penny. So right now it's $21.89, but if this number in the thousand spot is a 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4, we just let that number fall off. However, because this is a 5, if it's a 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, we have to round to the nearest whole penny. So we're rounding up. So it would be 21.90 would be here. So $21.90. And then lastly, we have Anthony. Anthony made $1,125. Multiply that by 0.0145. And again, here's another situation where it gives us more decimals beyond the nearest penny. And so because this number in the thousand spot is a 2, if it's a 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4, it just falls off. So this amount here is going to be 1631. So that is how you determine how much money you should withhold from your employees' paychecks for federal income tax, Social Security tax, and Medicare tax.